Because really, this type of fear is your imagination. That's all it is. It's fictional. So therefore, it's unreal. All it is you're imagining. It's in your thoughts. It's not happening in this moment right now. Think about that. The unfortunate truth, though, is that unreal fear, when you spiral and spiral and spiral, and I was scared to be scared, that whole thing. Now, it does have the possibility of turning into reality. When this fear is entertained for a long period of time, it does have the possibility of becoming a reality. It's the nocebo effect, which is the dark twin of placebo.
Welcome to the Life is a Healing Journey podcast by yours truly, Anushka, with a C. This podcast explores how you can create a true healthy lifestyle and live your life to the fullest in the face of any circumstance by healing and balancing your mind, body, spirit. If you are someone that's been dealing with disharmony in any area of your life and you are committed to seeking harmony, this podcast is for you. Let's start healing.
Today's podcast is focused on the body piece of mind, body, spirit. We all have 6 core emotions that all others fall under. All other emotions fall under these core emotions. The 6 emotions are joy, sadness, anger, fear, disgust, and surprise. Now, if you've ever watched Inside Out, it's this Pixar cartoon movie from several years ago, it gives you a great explanation of the 5 of them, and in a very cartoonish way where children, of course, can really understand as well. Although it's interesting because they left surprise out. Not sure what the reason for that was, but surprise is left out in that movie. Now, if you haven't watched it, I highly recommend it, especially if you do have kids, to have them really start to understand what emotions are all about and how we truly do need sadness, for instance, in order to feel the sadness and then to be able to get to joy, or feel the anger until you can get to joy. And recently I learned that they are having a second one come out this upcoming summer of 2024. So I'm definitely excited about that because I also love cartoons. Plus, this is like an emotional, intelligent one. So yay for that, right? As I described in last week's episode about triggers are opportunities for growth and healing. So if you haven't listened to that, definitely check it out. We also have these self-defense mechanisms that are automatic. And I'm sure I've said this in multiple episodes, and you're really going to get to know yourself and your self-defense mechanisms through this podcast. They are involuntary and are pretty much based on your childhood experiences. When we sense danger or we have this feeling of being threatened in any way, all of a sudden these automatic involuntary self-defense mechanisms tend to go off. We create these stories throughout our lives. Many, again, are based on our childhood experiences. Of course, it can happen in adulthood too. And we give meaning to what's happened to us. Some experiences have us create these unreal fears in our minds. So it's just these unreal fear that's not even real, right? And I'll explain more about that. Now, I'm not talking about the actual emotion of fear, because fear is an emotion and it is very much real, right? Fear is really, when you look at it from like what actual fear emotion is, it's actually that which is from the external side. Like if you're getting externally stimulated by something that is happening right now in the moment, and then fear, right? That is real fear. Like, for instance, someone holding a gun to your head, God forbid, right now, or being chased by a lion or a tiger or a bear, right? Right now, in this present moment, then that real fear kicks in. And that's perfectly normal, right? That's pretty much all other mammals except for us typically have fear go off in just the present moment when there's an external fear from, or an external stimulus from some kind of other predator animal that causes that to go off. Whereas us, because of our conscious mind and subconscious mind and all the the wires of the brain, I should say, and the amazingness of our brains, with that, we also tend to have a lot of the past experiences that tend to impact our future rather than just living in the moment. Now, what I'm actually referring to when I talk about fears is the unreal fear that is created based on something that happened to us. And it could be something that happened to you, who knows when, or something that someone said. So it might be something someone said, like a diagnosis, right? Or a statistic or something like that, or whatever it may be, that also can include PTSD, which, like I said, also impacts the future, because having these experiences will have some people have future or fear of the future because of some past experiences, and they won't be able to do certain things because of either the PTSD or whatever that may be. These past experiences have us give a meaning to what's actually going on, what's going to happen. So it's having us give a meaning to what's going to happen rather than what's actually going to happen. And then this unreal fear is created as if it's happening in the present moment, right now, while sitting on the couch or lying in bed at night when you're perfectly safe. And instead, you're in fear mode. Now, an example of this that I want to share with you all, when I talk about statistics, for instance, right? When I was presented with the diagnosis and the prognosis of the brain tumor, the fact of it was the diagnosis. The fact was I had surgery and all the tumor plus the margins were removed. The fact was I was sitting in my surgeon's office with Ashkan. Prognosis is not a fact. It's a predictable future when no one can create your future, which then can cause you and me to create in our heads to create something in our heads that hasn't even been proven to be true. Like, it's not even true. Yet the fear is going on because someone said so, or Google said so, or whatever it may be. Yet instead you're sitting here alive, breathing. I truly believe it's never over till it's over, as long as it's not over, right? So as long as we're breathing, then anything is possible. Even in my volleyball games, I'm always like, you never know, anything's possible. It's not over till it's over. The key, of course, when it comes to living and possibly volleyball in all areas of your life, the key is to committing, not giving up, or giving into such negative perspectives like prognoses, and of course, doing everything possible, being all in to make the impossible possible. Even though many stories that we have come from our childhood, stories can be created in adulthood as well. Just as I explained when I sat in my surgeon's office. Now, there's a difference between a diagnosis and a prognosis. As I mentioned, diagnosis is a fact. It identifies what the disease is, right? It identifies and labels, for instance, the tumor. Like I have mentioned in past episodes, the diagnosis of the tumor, what it got labeled as, is glioblastoma, GBM. That's the diagnosis. That's a fact. Prognosis, on the other hand, is a forecast or a prediction of a future based on statistics. Again, no one can predict your future. Maybe some psychics out there can, yet even then, your future can change when you choose a different path at any moment. Have you, and any of you have heard or seen Sliding Doors, the movie with Gwyneth Paltrow from, I think early 2000s. It's very impactful, showing, and I'm sure there's many movies out there similar to it, where it truly shows how in one moment, one tiny little second, whether you like, she just says sliding doors because she either makes it to get on the train or misses the train, right? And in that one moment, an entire new path is created, completely new path, right? That's why even that future where might be a psychic might predict can also be changed as well. So that said, really take a look and see what it is when it comes to a prognosis, because the prognosis completely ignores individuality, completely ignores the fact that we have unique fingerprints, we have unique DNA, and then we're lumped into a statistic. All those are completely not even relevant. How we're living, how we're having the self-talk, how we're exercising, the way we're eating. I mean, none of this is considered in these statistics. Maybe age, I think, but that's it. So it makes absolutely no sense. Even the weather forecast can't predict the weather most of the time. There have been so many times, even especially these days, where I check the weather and in that moment I'm sitting there, sun shining on me, and it says it's raining, or vice versa. It shows it's raining. It's like raining, but it shows that it's like sunny, right? So it's like you never know. So when a forecast of the weather can be predicted, how can our lives, when we can actually make any change in our life with the tiniest thing, right? Now, my surgeon did give me this 3 to 5 year life sentence. And this is all before the escalation happened. When the new prognosis became 6 to 18 months or whatever it was, I don't care for these things because I don't believe them. Of course, I made meaning out of it. I gave meaning. And I had that unreal fear. How can you not? I was so new to all of this stuff. It's not like now, right? I was completely new and I was so fearful of my future. And I know I've talked about this in past episodes, but all I remember is my future life, flashing before. They say your life flashes before your eyes. For me, it was my future life flashed before my eyes in that moment. Of course, I said, watch me, that's not going to happen. And I was scared. And I had fear with these words that I'm hearing. Like, oh, you only have 3 to 5 years, make the best out of it. I mean, it's not something a 36-year-old wants to hear, right? But more so, I actually was scared to be scared. With all the transformation work I had done at that point, and even more so now, I was scared to have those what if thoughts. And the fear was I would be killing myself by having these thoughts. Yet it was important to feel the fear, acknowledge what the fear is, because what we resist and don't want to confront persists and grows stronger and stronger until it literally takes over your body. Thankfully, I realized this soon and I began venting it out and releasing my fears. I felt the feelings of the fear. I cried a ton. I talked about what my worst fear is. I yelled a bunch, and eventually I got to that place of relief and realizing that this fear is actually an unreal fear, and that I had really created this based off the doctor's words. I had given meaning to the doctor's words, and then I had created this unreal fear within myself, as if this was the truth of my life and story, right? I eventually accepted the fact of what it was versus what I had given meaning to, the story I had created, what I had believed was the truth, right? Now, once I was able to uncollapse what actually happened and the facts from the tumor and the doctor's words, and just separating that from all the meaning I gave his words and how much I felt like his words just really were the truth, which I sometimes go back and, I mean, it makes sense considering that, hey, I'd never experienced something like this before, right? And the narrative of cancer everywhere, oh my gosh. And that's the unfortunate part, right? The narrative of cancer really freaks people out, rather than seeing things differently and seeing those that have succeeded through their cancer journey. And that's a whole nother episode on its own, where I actually would love to do a TED Talk on about how cancer is a gift. Now, when I was able to separate and uncollapse this and start seeing that these words were not the truth, then it was just one version of what could be, one story of infinite possibilities. I was then able to have a realization that his words and this bullshit prognosis is just one story, how my future could go. So this realization gave me choice. It gave me a choice. And now I was able to choose. When you can actually choose, what first, awareness, of course, and acceptance, and then choosing what your story is going to be. You can either believe what's been told to you. I could have believed that doctor's words about my predictable future and just gone down that path, or create my own future vision and story. That's when I realized I'm not giving his words this power over me. And that awareness is what had me completely shift from whatever that was to creating this beautiful new story and completely shifting my mindset and no longer creating all these whatever was going on in my thoughts. I ended up creating a story that sparked my joy. The joy, right? Another emotion that we really, when we dive into joy, we're really raising our frequency. You begin to feel that joy within, which is a much higher vibration and fear, and it's even above love. They do say emotion, right? E is energy in motion. You know, that's on the whole spirit side. But really, when you start to bring about this joy from within, where a thought of some place or something makes you smile from ear to ear, that in itself is so impactful and powerful in creating your future. My future vision was to just I envisioned myself being on the beach at sunset, my favorite place, beach and sunset. It's always a dream. Even before I lived in San Diego, even now when I live in San Diego, I definitely don't take it for granted. And I remember just creating this story and this vision of being on the beach at sunset with Ashkan, our kids, grandkids, and all our loved ones, just dancing the night away, laughing and loving each other with wonderful music, probably Persian. And I even smile now, and I feel so light when I envision it and talk about it. And I even would say to 90 and beyond. Although now I say to 99 and beyond, because we can always evolve our future visions as we evolve, right? It's never set in stone. You can always change things around. I actually wrote an entire page describing all of this and to detail. And then I created an image with affirmations illustrating these words to really have with like a silhouette and a beach sunset and these affirmations into 90 and beyond. And then I printed this future vision image, and I printed multiples, put it all over the house, on my phone screen, desktop screen, wherever I could, to have it in my face for it to get programmed and ingrained in my subconscious mind. Because back then I didn't do Psych-K myself. I wasn't a facilitator. I did work with someone. That's how I really got into it more so, to reprogram my subconscious mind at a much quicker rate. And this is what worked for me then. It did take a few weeks to shift, because that 3 to 5, I just kept seeing the numbers 3 to 5 and it would haunt me. And slowly I shifted that to 35 years, so plus 35 years. And every time I would catch it and I would shift it until I finally was able to really believe to 90 and beyond. Of course, I did this by taking the daily inspired actions towards that future vision. I would go to the beach. I would get outside. I would look at the image and say the affirmations, right? Taking those inspired actions towards the future vision. which obviously then now we see his words were not true, since I am still alive 6+ years later and living proof that anything truly is possible when you put your mind to it, right? It is this right here, this exercise with the future vision is the first thing I have clients work on before the very first session we even have. So it's something I have them work on in my mastery program, that is. And they create this future vision, and that's one of and then from there, we start looking at what image they can actually create from it. And of course, I support them if they need some help with the graphics side of things. So really look at what is your future vision, which I'll share more in the practice area at the end. We have a choice to choose the fear story or create a new one. It's a choice. Once you accept your fears as an interpretation within your mind and realize it's an unreal fear, then you can shift. Because really, this type of fear is your imagination. That's all it is. It's fictional. So therefore, it's unreal. All it is you're imagining. It's in your thoughts. It's not happening in this moment right now. Think about that. The unfortunate truth, though, is that unreal fear, when you spiral and spiral and spiral, when I was scared to be scared, that whole thing. Now, it does have the possibility of turning into reality. When this fear is entertained for a long period of time, it does have the possibility of becoming a reality. It's the nocebo effect, which is the dark twin of placebo. The prognosis I received was actually a gift for me in hindsight, because it's what ignited the passion and fire within me to work with people, because I know firsthand when someone is given a life sentence by a doctor, so many end up losing hope and they give up. And thus this vicious cycle continues to prove the statistics, all based a lot of times on the words. As strong-minded as I am, those words got to me. It took a lot from me to shift them. So I can only imagine with other people that haven't done transformation work, are completely new to this stuff, right? It really takes something, and then really looking at balancing and healing that mind, body, spirit. The law of attraction states that you will attract into your life, whether wanted or unwanted, whatever you give your energy, focus, and attention to. And when you're in fear mode, your body's autonomic nervous system, again, a previous episode, signals the sympathetic nervous system, which causes the body's immune system to shut down. Your entire body gets flooded with cortisol and adrenaline hormones, and all blood is sent pretty much out of the digestive stomach area to the legs and arms, getting you ready for fight or flight. Now, when this happens, digestion gets all wacky, right? So for those people that are constantly in that survival mode and their sympathetic nervous system is activated, they have a lot of digestive issues. They might even be dehydrated, weight gain, right? All these things are correlated, because the human growth hormone completely stops producing, and healing stops, regeneration stops, deep sleep doesn't happen. So then healing, of course, stops, and thus your body can no longer fight anything foreign within it. And that's how, again, another way on like more of the biology and science side of why some of these vicious circles continue, because there's no chance for the body to recover when you're constantly in that survival mode. Everyone has the ability to heal. And if each person could truly work and shift their mindset and begin viewing their disease as a gift of healing those inner wounds that already exist from who knows when, and some of which you may not have any awareness around, committing and choosing healing over and over again, committing to that healing. And of course, doing the work to heal yourself, feel all the feelings, releasing all that suppressed or repressed emotions, and sparking your joy from within daily, moment by moment, if possible, while also feeling the feelings, right? There's that balance. Then I really believe that healing would be inevitable for every person. It's just a matter of the mind, body, and spirit. Now, for the practice area to integrate into your life, these are 5 proven steps that I have used to flip the script of your unreal fear to spark your joy. And I remember this is what I used for myself, by the way. It's something that I put together, and that's how I created the future vision. And then I was doing workshops throughout San Diego and having people work on themselves and identifying their fears. So the first step is exactly that. Identify your fears and begin to vent them and release them. Whether that's writing them down in a journal, or saying it out loud to a loved one or to a coach like myself, somehow so you can get it out and you do not speak it into existence. Identify and accept your fear as an interpretation, that it's something that you are interpreting, that's something unreal. And this is how you can start looking at each of them. Take one of the fears and then do this with every single one. Is the fear true? Is it a fact? Is it new? Maybe it's something new. If so, when did it start? Or what's shifted in your life? So get some awareness, get curious. Is it happening right now? Because if it's not, is it real? And really try to be honest with yourself as much as possible with this. This is how you can really begin to release these fears. If you're stuck, get curious to discover what's in the way. What has you stuck? Remember that fear that's not external, not coming from an external stimulus in the moment, is not real. It's just one version of how your future story can go that you've created in your mind. It's in your imagination. That's it. It's not happening right now. Right? Next step. So step 3, create a new statement or an affirmation from a loving space. I remember back then I had several. One of mine was, the universe is a friendly and magical place. Another one I believe was, oh my gosh, it's like I'm losing it, but it was, I am healed and live a magical, joyous life full of love to 99 and, well, now to 99 and beyond, surrounded by my loved ones. So just really see what else there is for you that's going to really resonate with you. Of course, there are the ones that I am healed, I am cured, I am healthy. Right? All of these are very much affirmations as well. And you can end it with, and so it is. Just speak that into existence. The next, step 4, you're going to dream to create this future vision. This vision, and really dream that sparks your joy and is your happy place. What is your happy place? It could be a memory from your childhood. And that's something like you went somewhere. Like I had a client that the memory she had was from this time that she was in Greece. And every time she thought about that, it would just, her entire body would be filled with joy. And so that could be a future vision of going back there. Who would be there with you? What would you be doing? Okay, whatever that is for you, whatever that really has you smiling from ear to ear like I do when I think of mine. Number 5, you want to speak this new vision and this new story out loud and share with others. So just say it out loud. Have other people really see what this vision is. Of course, you can create this image like I did as well, and you can share that with people. I remember I even put that on my Facebook profile. The more people that hold that vision for you, the more energy that's coming to you and the more powerful it becomes. It's really unbelievably, I always say magical, but it truly is. It's so amazing, mind-blowing what can happen when multiple people bring that same energy, that positive energy together. The difference of that can make. Imagine if the whole world would be able to get together at one time and send all that energy and love energy to the Middle East and all that's happening. I bet there would make a difference there. Sixth one, take inspired action towards your future vision daily. One thing. It's always about that 1% better. Whatever you can do to be 1% closer to that vision. And of course, if you're interested in more details around this and some of the other things I offer, because this is a part of my self-empowerment and healing mastery journey. And it truly is like going to the University of You. I always tell people it's like getting masters in you. There's nothing better than that. No master is better than that. You can always contact me to learn more. Subscribe to not miss next week's episode focused on the spirit.
Thank you for listening to Life is a Healing Journey podcast. You are here to peel and heal one layer at a time, to live your life to the fullest in the face of any circumstance, while embracing a life filled with love, joy, and peace. If you are in disharmony in any area of your life and truly desire to be in harmony and committed to elevating your health and well-being, I'm one click away. Find me at healingwithanushka.com. And remember, that's Anushka with a C. And if you like what you heard, please subscribe and share this podcast with your loved ones. Get your healing on. Until next time.